Hey guys, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the topic sentences that y'all submitted. I chose 12 of them to go through, and so I'm just going to I just copied some of them, 12 of them, on this document, and I'm going to just make some suggestions, and some of them I'm just going to say you need to throw out, to be honest, but just giving you some feedback. I tried to choose ones that, at least the ones that I thought were a little bit off and like needed more work. I chose some of those just because they were common mistakes that I saw a couple different people make. So hopefully you'll watch this whole video, and if you made one of those mistakes, you'll catch me fixing it on someone else's. Obviously, you're not going to find out whose topic sentence is whose because that's not the point. The point is just to get some practice and maybe see how these people would do if I was grading your essays and this was a topic sentence that you put in your paper. So the first one is Atticus demonstrates his prime parenting by occasionally keeping an emotional distance from his children. So the first thing that I noticed is this like phrase prime parenting. I don't know what that means. And I don't know if it's explained somewhere else in the paper, but right now, prime parenting means nothing. And so this doesn't really tell me a lot. Um, Instead, I would maybe focus on what the emotional distance from his children tells you about Atticus, as opposed to what an emotional distance from his children tells you about his parenting skills. So I guess I'm just gonna like highlight this in red and then say over here in red, what does prime parenting mean? Maybe focus on Atticus instead of his parenting style. Yeah, because I feel like you just need to explain what his parenting style is telling you about him as opposed to like how his emotional distance proves his parenting style. But again, I don't know what prime means. Like, I don't know what that has to do with this particular topic sentence or the argument for the essay. Okay, so the second one says, in To Kill a Mockingbird, Scout develops a lot through the storyline. I think that Scout's development relates to Maycomb's potential to eliminate racism and change for the better. Okay, so this is just like a lot. First of all, never use I. Just where's a little scratch? Oh, there we go. Don't use first person in an academic essay. Make sure that you're always speaking in third person. If you need to be like if you really don't know any other way to phrase it, if you're talking about like thoughts or feelings, say like one might think or something like that. Never say I think. It also just weakens what you're saying because it gives the impression like this is my opinion and not a fact. You kind of want to present your argument as like this is a fact, even though of course people know like it's not necessarily a fact, but you want to present it in the strongest way possible. I would maybe first of all I would honestly just cut this entire thing. This is just like a fact. That's a waste of time. I'm going to cut this out too and then add an apostrophe here. And it would just say Scout's development relates to Maycomb's potential to eliminate racism and change for the better. And instead of saying relates to, I would maybe say represents or symbolizes Maycomb's potential to eliminate racism and change for the better. It's much stronger. It's much more to the point. There's no kind of like waffly I think in there. That just makes it stronger, more to the point. Okay, third one says Harper Lee uses Boo Radley to symbolize Scout and Gems. That needs a space. Childhood ending. Since Boo Radley is childlike and innocent, they never see him again after the night of the pageant. This end part is completely unrelated. Cut it out. Harper Lee uses Boo Radley to symbolize Scout and Gem's childhood ending. Since Boo Radley is childlike and innocent. I just don't love that reasoning. I think you could find a stronger way to phrase that. Honestly, for right now, I would cut all of that and just leave it there until you can really elaborate on that further in a stronger, more specific, argumentative way. So I would just leave it there. Okay. Harper Lee uses the female characters of To Kill a Mockingbird to show that women were expected to act a certain way or they didn't get treated with respect in the South. And instead of didn't, I would maybe say wouldn't. I think that one's pretty good. I think I like it. Maybe I could see rephrasing it to be a little bit stronger and maybe saying something along the lines of like Harper Lee uses like the treatment of female characters in To Kill a Mockingbird to show like the unrealistic expectations or like the unfair expectations placed on them or like limitations placed on them, something like that, just to shorten this so it's not quite so wordy. Like this part is kind of wordy, but yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. Fifth one, the people of Maycomb are prejudiced towards African Americans just because they have a different skin color. Not an argument. I would just say, like, not an argument. I don't think anyone's going to read the book and be like, yeah, these people aren't racist. So this is something that needs to change in some way to make it more of a point as opposed to just a fact. Sixth one, Tom Robinson's case is no doubt racist. However, several things about that case that created the outcome are dreadfully sexist. This strikes me more as a transition rather than a topic sentence. So I could see you using this at the end of a body paragraph about Tom Robinson's case and racism, and then moving it into a paragraph about sexism, as opposed to being an actual topic sentence. So I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to say, this seems more like a transition than a topic sentence. It's a good transition. It's a really good transition, but I wouldn't say it's a great topic sentence. I feel like I should do something to make this. There we go. All right. The next one says, people in Maycomb become desensitized to racism due to the fact that their society depends on it. My issue I take with this one is their society depends on it. I think that's kind of a slippery slope, and it's not really. Actually, why did I do that? I'm just gonna scratch it out. I just don't think that's a good. Like, people in Maycomb became desensitized to racism due to the fact that. But I don't love their society depends on it, because I don't think any society depends on racism. Like, it doesn't need it. You could maybe reference the fact like that's the way their society is structured currently, but I wouldn't say that their society depends on it. You know what I mean? So I really don't like that part. The eighth one says, the rigid social hierarchy which exists in Maycomb County serves as the basis for defining each character in the novel as opposed to their actual characteristics. This one's really good. I like it. I think I would switch which to that. The rigid social hierarchy that exists in Maycomb County. Yeah. Not which. One thing I wanted to go back, the transition one. When you're using however, don't use it with a comma. Use a semicolon or a period and then a comma after however, because that's a conjunctive adverb, which we didn't get to learn about because y'all aren't in school right now, so we haven't done new grammar. Yeah, that one's good. I would just switch to that. And the ninth one says, the symbolism of a mockingbird and To Kill a Mockingbird is the most important theme because it sums up the lesson Harper Lee's novel taught her readers. I'm just gonna highlight this really quick because my first thought is, what lesson? You need to tell me. Well, it looks like Christmas. Yeah, so don't just be like, oh yes, the lesson, and assume that your reader knows. Like, maybe if you have already explained what the lesson is that you're referring to, then that might be fine. But right now, just reading your sentence, I have no idea what the lesson is that you're referring to at all. So you definitely need to be more specific about that. The 10th one says, in the South, heritage and family directly defines you in the eyes of your peers. Um, so this is my only issue with this one is in the South, because that is too general of an argument for what we're dealing with. So you really need, instead of highlighting it, I'm just gonna erase it, and say in the novel instead, because you can't make that big of a generalization just off something that you saw in the novel, and say like in the South, because this isn't an essay about the South as a whole. It's an essay about the novel. So that one is just too out of scope. The 11th one says the items placed in the knot hole were put there specifically for them. That is just a fact. That is not an argument. So I'm going to write that beside it. Not an argument, just a fact. All right, so that's not a great topic sentence because it's not an argument. And the last one says gem character development was made to show Scout's ignorance. My only issue with this one is was made. Don't love that. Maybe like Jem's character development contrasts and thereby emphasizes. I think I spelled emphasizes wrong. Emphasizes? There we go. Scout's ignorance. I just think like was made to show. I don't love that wording. I think that wording's kind of like gross and like chunky. Whereas this is like a lot more like to the point. You want your wording to be like as concise and clear as possible. You want to use the strongest language possible and keep it as short and to the point as you can, with exception. Like obviously the one that was talking about like Harper Lee's, like the lesson that Harper Lee's novel taught her readers, you're probably like, Miss Lindsay, you want me to like elaborate? You just said to be concise. But that's a situation where you need to be extremely clear. So it's like trying to balance being like using strong language, being concise, but also being specific and clear. So I know it's like a lot to balance, and I'm not expecting y'all to be perfect, but these are just little changes that you could make that would make your topic sentences a lot better. Some people need to throw them out and start again, and that's okay. This was just practice. The rough draft isn't being graded on being perfect, so don't worry too much about it. But definitely take this advice and roll with it and keep working on your essays, because the rough draft is due tomorrow. And please, 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 if you're one of the people who's been using I, we, like me, any of that language, you need to get rid of it. You need to be writing in third person. You do not use any of those personal pronouns in academic writing. And so that's all I've got for you. Let me know if you're having any issues. You can message me. Don't email me, especially at the Gmail address, because I never check that one. You can email me at like the fortmillschools.org one, because I get notifications on my phone from that, or you can send me a remind, which is easier for me to reply to. But yeah, good luck. Bye guys.